Let's get our spine into a shape where it can be vertical and at ease. Maybe let the eyes close here. Maybe let the palms turn up. Find the easy, delicate exchange of your respiration. Well, there's this tech CEO who's made all the money in the world. He's left Silicon Valley and found his way to a monastery. Remember, as you settle more delicately into your seat, very subtle tweaks, core engagement, lateral shifts, all that anterior, posterior movement, and bring more ease into this shape. And really think about ease into this shape. We'll just give ourselves 30 more seconds here. Breathing, respirating, and more space. And then when it feels appropriate for you, let's take our right hand to our left elbow so that we create kind of a 90-degree bend on that right side. Keep the left arm straight. We're going to take the left arm straight out to the left at shoulder height. And then we'll relax back to neutral. And we're going to go to the right side now. So left arm stays straight, right elbow at right shoulder height, shoulder-ish height. Come back to neutral. Release our arm grip. Let's do the same thing to the opposite side. So we take that left elbow at roughly 90 degrees, turn out to the right, roughly shoulder height. Back to neutral. Now we're going to do the same thing to the left. Good full torso rotation here. Thoracic rotation, lumbar rotation. Come back to neutral and just walk ourselves out into a little seated forward fold. However your seat is working here, just extend out. Looking for a little lumbar length. A little shifts and tweaks in the sacrum to find a little extra depth maybe. And let's walk our way back to seat. We'll transition to hands and knees tabletop. You get into your tabletop, splay those fingers out nice and wide. Think about how much stability you can build in this shape. And let's exhale out. We'll round the middle of the back, tuck the chin, tuck the tailbone. We'll inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin. Exhale back into that big, full cat spinal articulation into flexion. And then inhale and drop the belly, lift the chin into your cow, into your extension articulation. And then let's curl our toes underneath us as we come back to neutral. And so now we have the toe mound active, and we're gonna do the same thing. So exhale out, tuck the chin, round the spine, get that full flexion. Inhale, drop the belly, lift the chin, lift the tailbone. One more time, we'll exhale out. And inhale it. And then bring the torso back to neutral. Pull your toes, lift your seat, find down dog. And as you roll your way back into down dog here, elevate the hips. Think about drawing the belt line back so that you are crafting the depth of this shape. And then let's walk our way forward to fold. As we find our way to fold, inhale, find a nice flat neutral back, good half lift, and then exhale and release back into your fold. When it feels appropriate, let's roll our way up in the mountain. Bring our hands together, heart center, and just settling into your mountain. Just feeling the stability, that bipedal, bilateral stability, right? When it feels appropriate, let's take our left foot like halfway back of what we normally step back into a lunge, so that we can get the back foot as flat as is possible, and then keep the right leg as, maybe not as straight as possible, relatively straight. So we have both legs relatively straight. We're just gonna sweep the arms up like we're in crescent. And then drop the hands to heart center and step to the front of the mat. We'll do the same thing to side two. So it's like a half step back here. If that right foot is able to get relatively flat, and then the left leg is able to stay relatively straight. And then we sweep the arms up like we're in crescent. This is a little bit just about kind of some awakening of our stability musculature. And then we'll drop the hands and step to the front of the mat. Now we'll slide our left foot all the way back into a traditional lunge depth. And same thing, just activate that back leg. No bend in that back knee. A little bend isn't possible for you, right? Quad and hamstring activation help. We'll just sweep the arms up. As the arms rise up, think about sinking down into that front leg just a little bit more. Want to keep that tibia and fibia on the right leg vertical, but we also want to bring that hamstring on the right side as parallel to the floor as is possible. And then drop the hands and we'll step back to the front of our mat. And we just breathe here. When it's appropriate for you, the right foot's going to slide straight back. We land here once again. We think about the strength of that right leg. Sweep the arms, and as the arms sweep up, we smooth into that front quad. Nice inner awareness of the core musculature. So we stay neutral in that posterior anterior chain. And then we'll drop the hands and step to the front of the mat. Sweep the arms up and overhead. Inhale through forward fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Plant our hands and walk into down dog. Lay the fingers out nice and wide. Maybe wiggle the tailbone a little bit here to create a little bit of extra depth. Think about transferring the weight of the shape back into the leg so that you can hang out here for an hour if we decided to. And then let's come down to hands and knees tabletop. Flip the tops of the feet and just wiggle our way back into child's pose. So this retired tech CEO made his way to this monastery. He's currently seated in this big, empty, like domed room. And it's just him and the head of the monastery in this room. And he's seated on a meditation cushion. And the head of the monastery is just sweeping. And he's kind of hearing the kind of brushing of the broom against the floor, what's making that noise. And he's using that to kind of help sink deeper and deeper into this meditative space. Then he has this thought kind of scurry through his mind. And the thought is, I wonder what's for lunch today. He pops his eyes open. He knows his master has been here. So he walks up to the head of the monastery and he explains, like, really struggling to allow myself to fully be immersed in this meditative space. I keep having these thoughts disrupt me. I keep having these thoughts scurry through my brain. Master kind of shakes his head and he's like, what would you do if you had a mouse in your house? And this former tech CEO is like, I'd probably get a mouse trap. I don't know. Then the monastery is like, and what would you do if the mouse trap didn't work? Tech CEO thinks for half a second. He's like, well, I'd get a better mouse trap. When it feels appropriate, let's let our hands slide out in front of us and we'll pull ourselves forward to tabletop. And here, just give a little sway through the hips, through the sacrum. And so the head of this monastery hears that and says, and then goes back to sweeping. And that's when this tech CEO knows that he's been dismissed from the conversation. Tailbone comes back to neutral. We'll curl our toes, lift our seat, and find our way into down dog. Pedal out a little bit here. Really try to experience that posterior chain expansion down from the high calf insertion all the way into the heel, into that calcaneus bone. And we'll just work our way back and forth. Hips staying elevated as you do so. Maybe you feel the low hamstring insertion. Receive a little bit of feedback as well. And then when it feels appropriate, let's walk our way forward to fold. We'll inhale into half lift. And exhale back into fold. Shift your awareness to your sacrum and we'll roll ourselves up vertebrae by vertebrae. Going back into mountain. Just landing in the stability of mountain for a moment. Bring the hands together at heart center, maybe letting the eyes close. And then maybe if you're comfortable with the eyes closed or maybe with the eyes open, just allowing for a little full hip sway. So lateral movement to end range of your hip capsule. With the eyes closed, maybe we can feel into that musculature awareness a little bit more deeply. It doesn't feel like it's working with the eyes closed. Just do this with the eyes open. One more time in each direction. And then we'll come back to a neutral alignment and drop our hands to our hips. 4 fingers on that anterior belt line. The thumbs wrapping around the backside. With an exhale, use the thumbs to push your hips forward and let your torso start to lean back. Maybe even gaze up towards the ceiling or sky, and then squeeze the scapula back. And then we'll bring ourselves back to a neutral alignment. And we're gonna do the same thing, but we're gonna think about belly button back. 4 fingers, just kind of a guide. Belly button goes back, like we're trying to U out the torso. Belly button back. Hips stay relatively neutral in this shape. And scapula get pulled wide. So elbows out can help, and then maybe the elbows even go a little bit forward to help the scapula get a little more lateral expansion. And then we'll draw our way back up into our neutral mountain. Nice work. Let's slide our left foot straight back. And then ground your left heel and let your right foot mirror your left so that you are in a wide leg mountain here. Hands staying together at heart center, and then just see what it feels like to start turning the fingertips down. When the fingertips start to point as far down as you can get them, just start to dive down like you're imagining yourself going right through water, and then release the arms down when the torso no longer has space, and walk the arms out as wide as they can comfortably go. So maybe that is to your toe mounds, maybe that's a little bit further. And then just roll yourself up with an inhale. Back into this wide version of mountain, and we'll bring our hands back together, heart center. And we're gonna do the same thing. So fingers point down, and then we just follow that, like the head is following right behind the hands. All the way into the torso, can't move, and then you let your hands start to splash out wide. And then we'll inhale and roll ourselves back up. Bring our hands together at heart center. Turn your right foot towards the front of your room, and then turn your torso towards the front of the room, and smooth your way into your right quad for a little warrior one. Sweep the arms if it feels comfortable to fully express the shape. And then spin your left heel up, and we'll step forward into mountain. Right foot slides back. Right heel grounds. Left foot matches the right, so we end up in this wide mountain. Start to turn your fingers down. When the fingers can no longer point down, follow them through. Hold. When the torso can no longer drop, release your hands out wide as they'll go. And then roll your way up with an inhale. Into mountain. Wide mountain. Hands coming together at heart center. Fingers turn down. Follow the hands into this fold. When the torso can no longer drop, the arms go wide. And then we roll our way up. Hands come together at heart center. Left foot turns towards the front of your room. Bend into your left knee. Square the shoulders and hips to the front of the room. Sweep the arms into full expression of warrior one if that feels accessible to you. The right heel spins up, and we'll step forward into fold. Inhale, sweep the arms up and overhead. Exhale through fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Plant your hands. We'll walk our way into down dog. Just breathe into the depth of your down dog here. Maybe a little lateral sway through the sacrum. Eventually, we'll come down to hands and knees, tabletop, flip the tops of the feet. Think our way back into child's pose. Those text here doesn't know what to do with that answer. He doesn't know if he was blown off. He doesn't know if he was given all the insight he needs. And so he decides to do what any good retired tech CEO would do. He goes to the library in the monastery to study. And he starts looking into any book that has anything about worrying thoughts, disrupting meditation. And he ends up finding quite a bit. A lot of his research leads him to mudras and mantras. And they all seem to be in Sanskrit. And so he tells the head of this monastery that he's going to leave the monastery to go study Sanskrit, to go work with the ancient texts. And that's exactly what he does. He gets on his private plane and he flies all over India, connecting with researchers and anyone, an old ancient text experts, old yogis, anyone with a deep connection to Sanskrit, he gets connected to. Give ourselves 20 more seconds here. When it feels appropriate for you, pull ourselves forward, 2 hands and knees tabletop. Give a little sway through the sacrum once again. And then push your left foot straight back and behind you, left toe mound connecting to the mat. Bring the right hand to heart center, kind of midline of the torso. Let the left heel ground and let the left hand reach towards the ceiling or sky. And then see if it's possible to take the left arm straight forward, palm down, rotating so that the left and right shoulder are stacked upon one another. We'll release that left hand down, come back to tabletop. Little sway for balance. We'll do the same thing to the second side. Right foot extends straight back. Left hand to the middle, right heel grounds, right arm to the ceiling or sky. See if it's possible to go right arm forward, palm down. We'll come back to tabletop. We'll sway through the hips. And then let's go left foot back. Right hand to the middle. Right foot comes down, but stay on the toe mound if possible. Left hand reaches towards the ceiling or sky. See if it's possible to take that left leg up. You have roughly a 90-degree bend at the right knee. And then roughly a 90-degree bend at the left ankle as well. And then maybe you take that left arm forward, palm down. Good engagement in the quad and hamstring here.
I saw the shadow.
And then left hand comes down. Plant yourself in tabletop and sway the hips.
Before it made a sound.
Now let's do this to the second side. So right foot goes back.
I try to speak.
And then we get that little lift. See if you can stay on that toe mound. And then maybe we lift that right leg up. And then maybe we take that right arm forward.
It's a curse to see in the dark.
Solid engagement in the quad.
When the world still sleeps in the park.
And then the right hand comes down, tabletop, sway the hips.
I've held a lantern where the light
Curl your toes, lift your seat, and find down dog.
spoken in tongues that the wind won't teach. And I've walked the edge where the night turns.
When it feels appropriate, walk your way forward into fold.
While the rest still dream.
Inhale into halfway.
Easy sleep.
And exhale back into fold. And then let's drift our awareness to our sacrum, and we'll roll or sweep our way in a mountain. Landing there.
Painted the future in black and gold.
Inhaling our hands together, heart center.
before it took hold. Every truth feels heavy
When
at
it
the
feels
start.
appropriate for you, left foot slides straight back.
When you're dragging it up,
Ground your left heel
your
and
own
roll to 2.
heart.
Smooth into that front quad. Bring
It's
those
a
arms up to
curse to
shoulder height.
see
And into that
in
width.
the dark.
Think about how the traps are active here, how the scapula are pulling back here, how we keep the middle of the femur right in line with the middle of that tibia. Left heel spins up, we're back in the crescent.
I've held a lantern where the light won't reach.
Drop the left heel and roll back to 2.
Spoken in tongues.
Wow, it expands the space here. Good engagement in the core so we stay vertical.
And I've walked the
Left heel spins up, we're back into
edge
the
where
crescent.
the night
And we'll step to mountain.
turns deep, while the rest still dream in their easy sleep.
When it feels appropriate for you, let's move to side 2. Right foot slides straight back.
When the walls fall,
Round the right heel and roll to 2.
but I was there long before it began.
Good engagement in that front quad. Feel the toes splay out on the front
When
foot.
the sky
Engagement across the traps. Feel the scapula pull back.
screaming the truth they'll claim one day.
Lift the right heel, sweep the arms to crescent. Strengthen that back leg. Don't let that knee bend. Stay strong and active. Ground the right heel, find your way back into 2. Think about the torso positioning, vertical, anterior, posterior neutrality. Squeeze those scapula back, splay those fingers wide. Stay active through the arm musculature. Right heel spins up, we're back into crescent. And we'll step to mountain. Relax into mountain. Mountain becomes this island of ease. Interlace the fingers. And then imagine that you're holding like a butterfly in between the hands. So we don't want to allow any space, but we don't want to crush it. So there's a soft connection there. We're going to keep that as we sink our way back into chair. Good core engagement. And then extend the arms straight out in front of you. And see if you can find a little more depth into that chair. And rise to mountain. Take the arms up and overhead. And then lift the gaze and look in between the hands.
Painted smile
Hands back to heart center.
in a cardboard town.
Feet drop back to chair. Arms extend. Get that little bit of depth.
Floor falls down.
Rise back up, arms overhead. Lift the gaze. Release the hands and drop to fold.
Burn it down for
Inhale into half lift.
the static in the blood tonight.
Exhale back into fold. Plant your hands and we'll walk into down dog. Get forward to plank and lower yourself down to your belly.
Through the neon weather,
Keep the hands right where they are.
holding hands
Take the forehead maybe 2 to 4 inches away from the mat
together.
and squeeze the elbows in towards the rib cage. Pull the scapula down toward your sacrum. Flex the quads so the kneecaps are lifted and splay the toes out wide.
We're reading lines from a broken stage. Turn it down till the whispers quake.
Now plant your forehead,
Burn
Keep the quads active and take the tops of the feet maybe a ½ inch off the ground.
There's static in the blood tonight. We're still alive.
Cycle through your full capacity for
We're
breath.
still alive.
Drop the feet, lift the forehead. Elbows stay tucked in, shoulders are active.
The noise don't end. Then the
Breath is
storm
fluid and full.
if the walls cave in.
Forehead to the mat, feet
We
lift.
still know.
Elbows in, scapula down, breath full. Relax your feet, slide your hands underneath your forehead for a little crocodile pose.
Static in the blood. Turn it down till the whispers quell.
Just at ease here.
Burn it down for freedom's sake. There's static in the blood tonight. We're still
So this former CEO now has all these mudras and mantras,
we're still alive.
and yet still when he's finding his way into a meditative space,
If the noise
even when he's working through these ancient tools, he's
don't die. If the walls
letting these thoughts scurry through his mind.
we still know.
And so he starts thinking about, how would I approach this from a technological perspective? And he starts thinking about what he could do to remove exogenous stimuli. He thinks about crafting this meditative fortress, he calls it. We'll give ourselves just 15 more seconds here. When it feels appropriate, let's slide our hands underneath our shoulders. We'll bring our toes, our toe mounds active into the mat and flex the quads. Squeeze those elbows in and push yourself straight up into plank. And then lift your seat into down dog. Let's walk our way forward to fold. And in fold, we'll inhale into half lift. We'll exhale back into the depth of the fold. Drift your awareness to your sacrum and let's roll ourselves up. Into mountain. Nice work. Bring your hands together at heart center. And let's take our half step back that we started practice with. Left foot steps back. Right leg stays relatively straight. Hands come together and interlace. We hold that butterfly in between the hands. We'll tilt our torso forward. And here we want to make sure that the weight distribution stays evenly balanced between the left and right side. And then extend the arm as far forward as feels comfortable for you. And then we'll lift up so the hands can reach up towards the ceiling or sky. Keep that right leg as straight as is comfortable. And then we're going to take a half fold again. So arms reach out towards the front of your room. And we'll lift back up. Lift your gaze. And then one more time, take those arms out towards the front of the room. Release the hands down to the mat and step your left foot forward so that it mirrors the right. Inhale into half lift. Go back into fold. And roll up into mountain. Bring your hands together, heart center. Easy fluid breath here. When it feels appropriate for you, take the right foot to that half step back. Interlace your fingers, that soft little delicate balance there. Tilt at the belt line. And then extend the arms out in front of you. Sweep your way up. Exhale to your half fold. Sweep your way up. Gaze up towards the hands. Bend the arms out, torso out towards the front of your room. Release the hands to the mat and step the right foot forward to mirror the left. Inhale into half lift. Go back into fold. And roll your way back up into mountain. Bring your hands together at heart center. Think about balancing the weight distribution between your toe mounds and heels so that you have this complete stability in that anterior, posterior weight distribution. And then with that as a primary focus, add a secondary focus on recreating the lateral sway through the hips. You can do this with eyes open or eyes closed. But we're trying to go to end range of our hips without changing the anterior posterior weight balance. So toe mount heel weight balance. So if you feel like, oh, I've put all my weight in my toe mount or I put all my weight in my heel, reset and try to get the lateral capacity back. More time to each direction. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips, 4 fingers in front, thumbs wrap around. Exhale and let the belt line go forward. Let the torso go back. Let the scapula squeeze, head lift. And inhale, tuck the belly button back. Keep that U shape of the torso. Let the elbows roll forward. Think about the scapula peeling wide. And then relax back to neutral. Keep arms up and overhead. Exhale through forward fold. Inhale into half lift. Exhale back into fold. Plant your hands. We'll walk our way back into down dog. Give yourself 30 more seconds just to explore your potential depth of down dog. Bending into the tabletop. Bend our legs. Breathe out in front of us in the staff. Before we take this fold, let's make sure just that we have our blanket and our ball set up. So the ball is going to go inside a blanket at shelf fold, and then just over like a little taco so that we can use that for our neck adjustment. And then let's just take ourselves into a forward fold and just settle your way into the depth of this fold. And so this former CEO with this infinite amount of money decides to do just that. He's going to build himself a meditative fortress. And so he builds this soundproof dome. And he has the most expensive filtration system and temperature regulating AI that could possibly be put in. He has the ability to impact the olfactory senses, shifting subtle scent elements into the air. And all of this is done in this like bubble of stillness. And it's so complex and complicated that he needs to hire someone just to run all of these computer programs. But that's not a problem, so he does. We'll give ourselves just about 30 more seconds here. And so he'll go in and he'll sit down, he'll start to think about meditating, and then he'll call out a change. You know, I want the sound frequency to be turned to gamma. I want the scent input to be rosemary. I want the temperature to be 68.4, not 68.5. When it feels appropriate, let's bring ourselves back into staff, and then we're going to lower ourselves onto our backs. And for a moment, just let the neutrality of the mat settle you and settle with your spine. And so he knows that he has the technological capacity to do almost anything. And he has the technological person who can make any tweak that he wants in this matrix of complicated factors. Sometimes when he sits down in his meditation now, he wonders if it really should be 68.4 instead of 68.5. He wonders if he should be using the gamma frequency of sound. Wonders if rosemary is the right scent, or if maybe sandalwood might be better. And so he'll sit and he'll have those thoughts scurry through his mind. And so in order to alleviate that, he hires a spiritual advisor to oversee the technological advisor who's overseeing his meditation. When it feels appropriate for you, let's slide this blanket ball prop underneath our cervical spine so that the ball is somewhere between the base and the top of the cervical spine, wherever it feels like it'll be the most impactful for you. And then let's just settle right there. Let your body melt over the ball prop with each tail cycle of your respiration. The one morning he wakes up really early, like 3:30 a.m. And he's in this magnificent house, and he realized that he's in the perfect space for meditation. And so he calls up his technological advisor, says, I need you to go down to the meditation fortress. And then he calls up his spiritual overseer of the technological advisor, and he says, I need you to go down to the meditation fortress. These guys are on call 24 hours a day. They get paid handsomely, so this is part of their job. They go down and they get set up, and they're hooking the electrodes to his brain, and they're working through the scent adjustments. And by the time he sits down to meditate, it's like 10:30 in the morning. And he just kind of looks around, and he realizes he's in this very sterile environment, like this lab almost. He says, you know what, guys? This isn't the day. He sends them home. And he decides that he wants to change the environment. So he spends several fortunes on acquiring sacred elements. He buys this old rug from this monastery, and he buys this meditation cushion that a monk had once achieved enlightenment while sitting upon. He buys these tapestries for the walls, and he gets the place all set up, and it looks beautiful. It looks like the most incredible room anyone's ever stepped foot into. And the next morning, again, he wakes up at like 3 in the morning. He calls up his technological advisor, he calls up his spiritual advisor, he has them come down, they get all the electrodes hooked up. There's a little bit of a technological glitch, but they work through it. Everything's diagnostically set. They get the temperature set to 68.5 degrees. And he looks at the clock and it's 11:30, and he's hungry. He's just not in the mood to meditate anymore. And so he calls it off. And he looks around and he realizes that this just isn't working. It's not the room space, not the aesthetics, it's not the temperature, it's not the sound frequency, it's not the scent, not the technological advisor, it's not the spiritual advisor. The meditative practice isn't working. And so he wants to go back to the monastery that he left. The head of the monastery there, his master, the person who taught him to meditate in the first place. In a couple decades now, and the head of this monastery is quite old. When it feels appropriate, let's pull that blanket out from underneath us and then just relax our way the mat. Ask yourself if you need anything, if you want anything, if you could benefit from anything prior to Shavasana. If there's anything that would help you, let's offer that now. If you have everything you need, if you're ready for some stillness, let's drop into that stillness now. on his plane and he flies back to the monastery. When he gets there, he sees the head of the monastery, goes up to him. Many years ago, I asked you a question. It was about having a problem meditating and having thoughts scurrying through my mind. You remember that? And the master shakes his head. And he starts to go on, and the master says, waves him off and says, show me your meditation now. Show me what you've learned in these decades. And this former Texio is like totally thrown off by this. It was never something he expected. He goes over and he wants to turn off the lights, and he's looking for the temperature controls, and the master just kind of tapping his foot. Sit down and show me your meditation. Texio sits down, and he's like completely stressed. He's out of meditative practice. He can't meditate. It's the reason he's here. And he's like trying to sit in stillness and fake it. And it doesn't take long before the master like pushes a broom into him and says, get up and follow me. The master takes him back into this room that they call the pantry, but really it's this giant warehouse. And they go into the very back where there's this grain closet where they have these bags of rice. I remember that question quite well. You've destroyed your entire practice. And this Texio tries to answer again. The master waves him off. Says, no. Look there. And he points down and he looks at this bag of rice, and this bag of rice has a little hole in it. And there's a mouse at the hole that's gnawed through. And he's eating the rice out of the bag. The master turns to this Texio and says, do you think we should burn down the entire monastery? Get rid of this one mouse? Texio's like shakes his head and he's like, no, obviously not. I start to bring some movement to our fingers and our toes. Into our wrists, our ankles. Up into our elbows and our knees. Shoulders, our hip. Neck or head. Jaw, eyes, tongue. Eventually the entirety of the body will move. And we'll utilize that movement to transition into a seat. In the seated space, spine gets tall, breath gets fluid. It's close. We'll bring our hands together, heart center. Over the course of the next 7 days, can you remind yourself of the calm? Trying to root out the smallest imperfections and see how that impacts your experience. Thank you so much for being a part of this evening's practice, being you. Namaste. Monday. Appreciate the heck out of you being here. Have a beautiful week. I'll be back on Sunday to recharge, and we'll do this again next Monday. Love you. Mwah.